Hello. We ready? Ready. Can you turn the mic down? Stop it. Now do it again. While say yes. Did you leave this here? Everyone. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Good evening.
Thank you.
Test.
So tonight I have a special guest, and her name is Cassidy Fentress, and she's the acting mayor for tonight. She's in the 4th grade, 9 years old, and she goes to Holy Family in Chicago. And so she's going to be presiding over the meeting, this first portion of it. So education is important to me, especially civic engagement. And how I met her was her mom posted on social media. She did a vision board, and on her vision board, I was on that vision board. She wants to be a mayor, so I wanted to give her an opportunity to be the acting mayor tonight. So let's give her a round of applause.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to call the Village Board of Trustees to order at 7:34. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can. Interim Madam President. Just for the record, we are located tonight at 2350 South 25th Avenue, Village of Broadview, Illinois, in our council chambers. I'm going to take a roll call. Trustee Abraham?
Here.
Trustee Chamalave? Absent. Trustee Senior?
Here.
Mayor Thompson?
Here.
Trustee Shelby?
Here.
Trustee Armour?
Here.
Trustee Miller is absent. And Mayor, at this time, we need to get permission for electronic participation for our trustee senior who's on the other line. So at this time, I'll take a motion to approve electronic participation for trustee senior.
So trustee senior is working, so that's
Yes.
why she's not here.
That's the reason, correct?
Motion to approve that trustee senior participate electronically due to work. I need a second.
I second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Armour, seconded by trustee Shelby, to allow trustee senior to participate electronically. All in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, that motion carries. Can we now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance.
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
May we all pause for a moment of silence. Okay, thank you. Next item is item 2, public comment. I have Madam Jordan Gordon.
Ms. Gordon, can you come to the mic?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Hi, everyone. I just wanted to say a couple of things about our village. One, I want to thank the fire chief and the police department for their safety Saturdays that they're putting on. The last one was really interesting. We didn't have a lot of people here, but they really did a great presentation. And I hope that all the village takes time to come to that. It's held on the first Saturday of the month usually. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the importance
the importance of paying attention at the village meetings by our residents and also by our trustees. There are so many things that go on, and we have to keep alert to them, but one of the things you have to think about is not to waste time when they're busy doing their job, and everybody on this board works really, really hard. The hardest working person is our mayor, Ms. Thompson. I can't tell you how pleased I am. Those of you that know me, know that I go to meetings all the time. If I can't be here, I watch them on the computer. But I have always taken the point of view that it's important to challenge our leadership to do the best job that they possibly can. And the one person I haven't had to issue too many challenges to is Mayor Thompson. My husband, by the way, is in love with her, but you know, that's another issue. But she's one of those great people who, her and I used to sit in the audience at times together and talk about what this village needs to do and what her vision was for the future. So I've always supported her in her efforts to be here. So I just want to say thank you, Mayor Thompson, for doing a great job as a mayor. And no, I'm not being paid for this.
Thank you, Ms.
And
Gordon.
I want to say,
appreciate that.
you make a great person to want to achieve something for us. So our new young mayor that's here, great job. And someday I hope that you'll be sitting on a board somewhere, being the mayor and leading a community. Go for it.
Thank you, Ms. Gordon, for your comments.
Okay, that concludes public comments for this evening. Next, I believe we have a video presentation for the C4. And if we can dim the lights a little bit. Ooh.
I'm doing it, but I don't know. You want to stream it?
That should be good. So you can do.
That's all we can get.
So while we wait for the video to play, this is a video of the C4 project. It's an environmental climate change video that the Village of Broadview participated in with the Village of Oak Park and the Village of River Forest, and we won an award. And we was in D.C. to receive that award last month. We couldn't really talk about it because the U.S. Mayors of Conference wanted to be the one to launch the good news. But this is a video of the work that's taking place within our communities. And I'm real big on partnerships and collaborations. So to be a part of something like environmental sustainability and climate change, it's important for all of us to be engaged, to participate, because we have all of these young children that's here in the audience that I'm seeing. We have to leave this place better than what we received it in. And so we're doing the work. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of good work that's taking place. So I'm super excited about what's taking place within the Village of Broadview. I'm excited about the launch of this video and this program. It's just a lot taking place as it relates to climate change, and we all have to be active and participants in that. So I don't know if it's up. But that's what this video is about. So I don't know if you live in one of the 15 communities, but we have 15 communities that's actual partners. But the executive team for C4 is the Village of Broadview, the Village of Oak Park, and the Village of River Forest. And then we have 12 other community partners that's a part of the C4 collaboration. Where's Clerk McGreer? Clerk McGreer? So can you go ahead with communications while we wait for him to get the video up?
Okay, while we're waiting for the video, we're going to do a couple of announcements. This is under our communications item. First off, Saturday, February 11th, 2023, from 10 a.m. to noon, we have our Small Business Workshop Series. We'll be talking about various subjects, specifically legal side of starting a business from attorney Kenyatta Land. Again, that's right here at Village Chambers, Saturday, February 11th, 2023, 10 a.m. to noon. Next, Brandy House Black History Programming, honoring Black History Month, Sunday, February 12th, from 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. This is a Zoom meeting. For more information, contact the clerk's office or Lily, who is the mayor's executive assistant right here at Village Hall, 681-3600, for the Zoom meeting ID and passcode. Next, Black Business Expo 2023. Don't miss the opportunity to take your business higher. February 18th, 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. There's a $75 fee. It includes one table and 2 chairs right over at 2600 South 13th Avenue in Broadview at the Schroeder Park Fieldhouse. Next, PLCCA, Fact Finders Group, Inc., in partnership for R3 Restore, Reinvest, Renew Convening, working together to create safer communities. This is a collaboration between Maywood, Bellwood, and Broadview. And this is Thursday, February 9th, 2023, from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. at PLCCA, located at 411 Madison Street in Maywood, Illinois. And lastly, Hancock Engineering Company is a well-established civil engineering firm that provides engineering services to numerous municipalities. If you are a college student trying to be an engineer or a construction manager, we might have a spot for you. They are hiring. If you are interested in learning more about this paid internship, please reach out to Chris Baker, Director of Business Development, at cbaker@ehancock.com. For more information, you can contact the clerk's office for details. That concludes communications. We're working through a couple of technical difficulties in bringing the video up. Please bear with us.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and start because out of respect of people's time, you can say, out of respect of people's time, we're going to bypass the video, and if they get it up, we'll play it at the end, okay? Can you get the lights, trustee? All right. Mr. Clerk.
Okay, we're going to continue on with our meeting. I believe one of the trustees wanted to make a
Yes.
motion.
I would like to make a motion to take the meeting out of order so we can take care of items A through E on the agenda.
So a motion by trustee Shelby to take the meeting out of order, going straight to item 9A,
Second.
seconded by trustee Armour. I'll take a roll call. All right, trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave is absent. Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Passes 4-0. So we're going to go straight to item 9A. And that's new business. Item A, the swearing in of Zach Schneeberger, I hope I said the name correctly, as a firefighter of the Village of Broadview Fire Department. So can I have Mr. Schneeberger up here for swearing in? Okay, can you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I,
Zachary Schneeberger,
having been appointed to the office of firefighter paramedic
having been appointed to the office of firefighter paramedic
in the Village of Broadview,
in the Village of Broadview,
County of Cook, State of Illinois,
County of Cook, State of Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the Broadview Fire Department
of the Broadview Fire Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my abilities.
Okay, we're going to do one more attempt to do the video. Huh? Oh, go through the swearing? Okay, never mind. Next, item B, a motion to authorize the promotion of firefighter Charles Shayer to the rank of lieutenant for the Village of Broadview Fire Department to fill vacant position as previously approved by the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners. Need a motion?
Motion to approve.
And I second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Armour, seconded by trustee Shelby. Okay, I'll take a roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave is absent. Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
And trustee Miller is absent. This carries 4-0. All right, thank you. Next, item C, swearing in of Charles Shayer as Lieutenant of the Village of Broadview Fire Department. Come on up. I am too. I am too. This is a long time coming. Okay, can you raise your right hand and repeat after me, please? I,
Charles Shayer,
having been appointed to the office of Lieutenant
having been appointed to the office of Lieutenant
in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois,
in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the Broadview Fire Department
of the Broadview Fire Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
No, thank you.
Okay, next item D, a motion to authorize the promotion of the police officer Gustavo Galvin to sergeant for the Village of Broadview Police Department to fill vacancy position as previously approved by the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners. Need a motion.
To approve. Motion to approve.
I second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Armour, seconded by trustee Shelby. Madam President, can I take a roll call?
Yes, please, but before you do that, I want to say something about Officer Galvin, because he haven't actually gotten sworn in as a sergeant, but for the past year, he's been operating as the sergeant for the village of Broadview. And I met him on a bike ride, because I ride bikes through the community, and from time to time, police will join on a bike patrol. And I met Officer Galvin, and we had a conversation, and it was just about community initiatives and things that we was looking forward to in the police department. And out of everyone that has come before me to be sworn in, to rank up, he is the most deserving of this recognition. So it brings me honor that you serve our community with integrity, with respect, with kindness, compassion, empathy for our residents, our business stakeholders, and our visitors that visit us every single day. I know without doubt or contradiction that you got great potential and growth to get beyond the sergeant. Go for it. Be the leader in the department. You can do it. So I'm happy for you today. All right, Mr.
With that being said, I'll take a roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalave is absent. Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
And trustee Miller is absent. That motion carries 4-0. Sergeant Galvin, will you bring the record, please? All right, can you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I,
Gustavo Galvin,
having been appointed
having been appointed
to the office of sergeant
to the office of sergeant
in the village of Broadview,
in the village of Broadview,
county of Cook, state of Illinois,
county of Cook, state of Illinois,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
the Constitution of the state of Illinois,
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
and I will faithfully discharge the duties
of the Broadview Police Department
of the Broadview Police Department
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Sergeant Gustavo. So we have a name for him. In the village of Broadview, we call him Hollywood. So if you hear anybody call him Hollywood, you know which sergeant we're speaking of. Sergeant, congratulations.
Thank you. If everyone would be so kind as to stay seated, we're going to play the video now, so please take your seat. We'll be right on. Thank you, sir.
We will play the video next month, but it is on YouTube and on the Village, I think it's on the Village website and social media pages, I think. Okay, so we reconvene and back to,
As soon as I get some light. Okay. Trustee?
somebody not happy. We tried.
That's all you can do.
All right, Mr. Clerk.
Okay, at this time, we're going to go back to the regular order of the business meeting. I'm going to need a motion to go back to item 4.
The attorney is not in the room.
It was just the minutes.
What do you want us, item 4?
Motion to item 4.
No? We need a motion.
To go back to the regular board meeting.
I'd like to make a motion that we go back to the regular board meeting, starting with item number 4. Am I correct?
I second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Shelby, to take the order of the meeting back to the regular order, heading back to item 4. I'll take a roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave is absent. Trustee Senior. Yes. Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. This passes 4-0. We're back to item 4. Consideration to approve the following minutes. Minutes from the January 3rd, 2023 regular board meeting. Need a motion.
To approve.
I second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Shelby. Madam President, open for discussion.
Trustee Abraham, you have any questions or comments?
No.
Trustee Shelby?
No.
Trustee Armour?
I don't have any question, well, I do have a question. Can we table these until our next meeting? Because I just got this and I haven't gone through it. The video wasn't available for me to do my due diligence, so that's the request. I need a second.
You need to make a superseding motion to do that.
Okay, I would like to make a superseding motion to table the minutes until our next board meeting, because I just got the updated, or the minutes this afternoon, and I have not had a chance to review them.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Shelby, seconded by trustee Abraham as a superseding motion to table these minutes until our next board meeting in March. I'll take a roll call. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave is absent. Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes?
Trustee Miller is absent. And 4-0, these minutes will be tabled until the next regular board meeting. Thank you. Next, item 5, consideration to approve expenditures, grand total of all funds, $971,559.20 for the period ending February 1st, 2023.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Shelby. Madam President, open for
Thank you.
discussion.
Thank you. Trustee Shelby, will you please read the warrant, Finance Chair, will you please read the warrant list? Yeah, that's right.
Okay, for February the 1st, February the 1st, 2023. The vendors, Baker Tilly US LLP, $9,741.25. Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois, $156,804.39. Broadview Westchester Joint Water Agency, $429,954.34. Comcast Business, $2,895.32. ComEd, $5,920.51. David Ormsby Incorporated, $3,000. Eco Clean Maintenance Incorporated, $2,504. Edwin Hancock Engineering, $73,979.84. Geno's Heating and Plumbing Incorporated, $135,527.40. H&H Electric Company, $3,298.29. Heritage Broadview LLC, $6,407.05. Julie Incorporated, $2,632.34. Lincoln National Life Insurance, $6,852.08. Lenco Equipment Sales Incorporated, $8,395.88. Mid-American Water, $8,425.52. Montana and Welch LLC, $5,216.25. Nabisco Incorporated, $8,292.47. Orlando Lawn Service, $4,800. Regional Truck Equipment Company, $10,049.55. Russo's Power Equipment Incorporated, $3,148.12. South Central Capital Group LLC, $6,750. Vima Real Estate Incorporated, $22,325. West Cook County Solid Waste Agency, $12,680.97. The total of expenditures over $2,500 came to $929,600.57, which is 96% of all total expenditures in the amount of $971,559.20. Okay, the following funds that were affected by these expenditures. The general fund in the amount of $296,239. The general fund in the amount of $12,680.97. The motor fuel tax fund in the amount of $1,788. The CDBG fund in the amount of $8,410. The Roosevelt Road TIF fund in the amount of $4,604.30. The 17th Avenue TIF North, $1,560. And the 19th Street TIF in the amount of $6,407.05. And the Water and Sewage Fund in the amount of $639,869.88. Again, for a grand total of $971,559.20. Madam President, that concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Abraham, you have any questions?
No questions.
Thank you. Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
No questions.
Trustee Senior?
No question.
Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave is absent. Trustee Senior? Trustee Senior? Do we still have you, Trustee Senior? we lose our trustee?
Trustee Senior, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay,
We're
is that
voting on the funds, in a total of $971,559.20. What's your vote?
What's your vote, Trustee Senior, for the,
Yes.
Thank you. Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armor.
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0. Thank you all. Next, consideration to approve expenditures, grand total of all funds, $189,755.57 for the period ending January 11th, 2023. Need a motion?
To approve.
I second.
Who's the second? Shelby? It's been properly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Shelby. Madam President.
thank you, Trustee Shelby, the Finance Chairwoman. Will you please read the warrant list?
Okay, this is the warrant list for January the 11th, 2023. The vendors, Admin Consulting Specialist LLC, $4,500. L. Warren Oil Company Incorporated, $22,705.04. B&F Construction Code Services, $12,384.17. CDS Office Technologies, $14,530. Delgado Law Group LLC, $13,857.50. Group Incorporated, $50,232.37. Joseph L. Ponsetto, $4,290. Kimberly A. Lightford, $18,000. Nicor Gas, $9,415.62. Ray O'Hare Company, Inc., $3,415.94. Sewer Tech LLC, $4,000. STP Transport, $5,675. Tesca Associates Incorporated, $3,523.75, which is total expenditures over 2,500 came to $166,529.39, which is 88% of all total expenditures in the amount of $189,755.57. We had some manual payments, and the vendors are City of St. Charles. The date is January the 5th, 2023, check number 83891, in the amount of $20,000. The next vendor, Operation Uplift Incorporated, the date January the 3rd, 2023, check number 83888, in the amount of $100. We have O'Rourke and Moody LLP, date January the 5th, 2023, check number 83890, in the amount of $15,111. And the Village of Hillside, date of check January the 3rd, 2023, check number 83889, in the amount of $150. The total of manual checks, the total amount is $35,361. We also had an electronic payment. The vendor was Chase Credit Card. The payments reflecting as of December the 25th, 2022, and the amount of $17,174.05. Okay, the funds that were affected by these expenditures, the general fund in the amount of $121,892.10. We have the garbage fund in the amount of $50,232.37. We have the Roosevelt Road TIF fund in the amount of $3,523.75. The Capital Projects Fund in the amount of $585. And we have the Water and Sewage Fund in the amount of $13,522.35, again for a grand total of $189,755.57. Madam President, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Trustee Shelby. Trustee Abraham, you have any questions?
None.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
I have a question, but I don't have a question.
Okay, Trustee Senior? No questions. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalavi is absent. Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
No.
I need to vote.
I meant to say
Mayor Thompson?
abstain. My vote is abstain.
Mr. Clerk, I need to vote.
Mayor Thompson?
Yes.
And Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries
Thank you.
5-0 with the abstention. Okay, next item 6, presentation, we have none. Item 7, committee reports. These are given at each first meeting of the month, starting with our Business License Committee. Trustee Armour.
All right. Thank you so much. Just wanted to let you know that I did have a short conversation with the commissioner, and he will go into more detail on the 3 business licenses, temporary licenses that he issued later with his report, but thought I was organized over here. I got too much paper. The 3 temporary licenses are just 1 second. I'll just say that we did meet, he did issue 3 temporary business licenses, and he will report further on them when he gives his report. Or is this the meeting where he gives his report?
No, it's not.
Okay, here, I do have some. Just a moment. Or can you come back to me, please?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, I found it.
Let's go.
Okay. Next is Police and Fire Committee. Trustee Miller, who's absent. Does anyone have anything in their stead?
I don't.
No.
Thank you.
No.
Next, Finance Committee. Trustee Shelby.
Yes, good evening. The Finance Committee meeting will be held on Wednesday, March the 1st, at 7 p.m., and it will be streaming live. I also received an email from the mayor regarding questions from Trustee Armour that she had sent in, and at this time, I'm asking for Director Hicks to come and address those questions. And could you please start with the questions and then follow up with the answer? Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Shelby. So I think it's important, Trustee Armour sent a list of questions for tonight's meeting, and I think it was appropriate because we do practice transparency and honesty in the Village of Broadview, and I want everybody to be educated on what our processes are in our finance department so that it's not misinformation given out. People get to change the script and how they want it to fit their narratives and their agenda. So we've asked the finance team to give a report of those questions. So I believe the question will be read out loud and then followed up with an answer. So thank you, Trustee Shelby.
You're welcome.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
The first question is, what is the total amount of the proposed 2023 GO bond? It is unclear. Is it 1.1 million or 4 million? And the answer to that question is it's 1.1 million. The next question is, how much do we owe the water fund again? And the answer is nothing. We repaid the water fund. What is the unpaid balance from all previous years for each year starting 2008 to 2022? There is no unpaid balance. What is the interest rate for the 2023 proposed GO bond that we will have to pay in November? Is it 5%? It's not clear. We don't know what the interest rate is at this point in time. It'll be determined once the bonds are sold, but the interest rate are hovering around 4 or 5%. The next question is, who is the registered owner? Nothing is filled out on the bond documents. Why? There is no registered owner at this point in time because the bonds haven't been sold. What is the total amount of the proposed 2023 bonds? Since we were unable to pay back the 2022 GO bond, the proposed amount for the 2023 proposed bond is $1.1 million, and we were able to pay back the 2022 GO bond. What other previous years still need to be repaid? There is no other year that need to be repaid. How would this debt economically impact the residents, businesses, and the village as a whole? What are the advantages? So from a debt perspective, it's always better to use other people's money, right? So that means that this is not funds that are taken out of the village to be used for this purpose. And so being able to go out to market and issue bonds and have those bonds to be sold is a result of a fiscally responsible village. What you'll find is that when villages are not rated double or triple A or even triple B, they have a hard time going to market to sell bonds to get funds for their operations. And that's when they run through their own cash and put the village and the residents in a very bad position. So what are the advantages? Those are the advantages. Being able to go out to market to borrow funds that we don't have to use from our own coffers. Who will control the disbursement of the bonds funds, and why are the distribution amounts set for increments of 5,000, 100,000 in parentheses explain? The bonds are sold in increments. They're rarely broken up and sold in piecemeal because the bonds, we're only issuing about $1 million. It's usually purchased by one bondholder. So there's the disbursements are done at the closing, so that's done by bond counsel. Will future withdrawals will need to be board approved? Not sure what future withdrawals are being referred to, but all transactions that require movements of funds or loans or anything or issuance of funds are brought before the board. What are the alternatives? Nothing has been mentioned or proposed. Neither have we gotten together as a team to discuss ideas. So we're talking about the 2018 bonds that were issued for this building that we sit in. That's the last bond issuance, the major bond issuance that took place, and that had been tossed around and discussed prior to you or anyone on the board now, besides Trustee Abraham. So those alternatives were explored at that time, and the village was in a financial, fiscally responsible position to be able to borrow $12.5 million to be able to build this building and not have to do it in piecemeal. I believe prior to that, there was discussions of, doing, a shorter or a smaller issuance or trying to pay for some of the construction out of operating funds, which would have taken place over a longer period of time. But because the village was in a fiscally responsible position, it was able to issue bonds to the market that went out at a very favorable rate that allowed to not have to take out of the general operations to pay for capital projects. And that was the end of your questions.
Okay, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Director Hicks. Mr. Clerk?
Thank you.
Thank you. Next committee meeting, our committee is Building and Public Property. Trustee Chamalave, who is currently absent. Does anyone have anything in their stead?
No.
No, thank you. Next is the Water, Drainage, and Health, trustee Senior.
Trustee Senior, you have a report. Are you still there?
Yes, I'm here. No, I have no report at this time to report. Thank you.
Thank you, trustee Senior. Next is Streets, Sidewalks, and Alleys, trustee Abraham.
Yes, I do have a report. This evening at 6:30, the Streets, Sidewalks, and Alleys held a committee meeting. It was in attendance with my fellow trustees, trustee Shelby, as well as trustee Armour. What Director Ames presented to us and what I asked him to provide us was to give number one, what completed projects for 2022. Second item we wanted to know more about was whatever was going to be carried over into 2023. And then the third item that I asked about was potential projects for 2023. The fourth item was basically the financial streams for these such projects. In the process, he did pass out a map of the streets, alleys, sidewalks, all that for us to view to see what is completed, and they're ranked. So we know what was recently paved between the years of 2015 and 2022. He had other roadways conditions with good and fair, what's needing repair within 5 years. So he kind of gave us an update of what is major or immediate need of repair for certain streets. And then he covered all the funding for the various projects and how it affects our budget, and how we went out and got different types of bonds, filled out applications to get additional monies from, partnerships with the, I believe, Cook County MWRD, to name a few, and what was coming out of like our capital account in case if it was a small job, things like that. So it was a very well-detailed presentation, but it definitely caught everybody up to know what's going on, because our village, as everybody drives around town, we can see we're doing different things in every part of the town, so which is good to see. So I did want to commend him and his department for putting that presentation together, and it was streamed live, Madam Mayor. That's the end of my report.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. That completes our committee reports. Next, item 8.
Trustee Armour wanted.
I'm sorry, yeah, we're going to circle back to trustee Armour with the Business License Committee. Trustee Armour?
Okay, the three temporary business licenses that were issued is the Undigible Digs at 2131 South 17th Avenue. It's an online commerce business reseller, vintage music, CDs, tapes, vinyl records, and those kinds of items. And then Hubbard City at 2000 or 2000 South 25th Street or Avenue. It's a storing event equipment. And then Harleen Inc. at 2600 South 25th Avenue. And that's a construction business, a commercial construction business. And those are the temporary business licenses that was issued by the business department, the commissioner's office. Thank you. That's all I have to report.
Okay, thank you, trustee. So that now completes our committee reports. Next item, 8, old business. We have none at this time. So we'll skip over to item F under new business. A resolution authorizing and approving an intergovernmental agreement by and between the Village of Broadview and the Maywood Merrills Park Broadview School District 89 for premises improvements and maintenance of School District 89 in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
I second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Shelby. Madam President, open for discussion.
Director Ames, please come to the mic and tell us about this intergovernment agreement.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees, everyone in attendance.
Good evening.
This intergovernment agreement, thank you, Tiffany, with the Delgado Law Group.
You're
for finally bringing this thing to pass. So this has been an ongoing issue with the Broadview School. Obviously, a few years back, they commissioned work within the school grounds that, in essence, bled out into the villages right away, caused some damage, some unsafe conditions. And what we have, in essence, put before you is an agreement, basically saying that we will have this partnership in restoring or repairing those right-of-ways to make it safe, most certainly pedestrian-friendly, and restoration to the village's specifications. We will, according to the IGA, take the onus for the design, for the entire bid process, for the awarding of the contract, the supervising of the construction work, and this along with District 89 and their critical personnel. I believe their architect and the engineering will be involved as we just kind of make sure that this project is done according to their expectations and most certainly the village's expectations. The cost will be absorbed by District 89 in its entirety. We have also asked for a 60-day reimbursement once the work has been completed, inspected, and approved. So I believe that's in a nutshell. Am I missing anything, Attorney?
I don't believe so. That's a good summary.
Thank you. Trustee Abraham, you have any questions?
No questions.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
No question.
Trustee Senior?
No question.
Thank you. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalave is absent. Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0. Thank you. Next, item G, a resolution authorizing and approving a contract with Edward Hines Jr. VA Hospital related to certain fire suppression, hazmat response, and related fire department services for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Armour. Madam President?
Chief Kenny, I hand it over to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Hines VA is a contract that we had for the past 7 years. When I became chief, ironically, the first week, we signed an agreement for a 5-year contract. We extended it for 2 years during COVID. This is a new 5-year contract. The first year is at $260,000, which goes up for 5% every year, and in the 5th year, we end with $316,263. This is, like I said, over a 5-year period. This is strictly for fire. In the past 7 years, we've only had 2 fires there, which we were able to handle at a still alarm level. So they have an excellent safety team. We work really well together. We did have one issue there a couple years ago, and the mayor and I had an excellent response from Hines on how to best serve our veterans, and I'm proud to serve the Hines VA, and I hope we can continue it.
Thank you, Chief. Trustee Abraham?
No questions.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
No questions.
Trustee Senior?
No question.
So I would like to say thank you for getting a 5-year contract. That is a good item to budget for as we move to the, as we go forward with this. In the past, I think we've done annual contracts, but to get a 5-year, we can kind of put some projections into place as it relates to the needs of the fire department, most certainly they pension. So we know that you all are doing your part, and most certainly we're gonna do our part because we have a high level of respect for our veterans that live within our community and on that compound. So thank you, Chief, because it's been a lot of hard work with this particular contract. So you got it done. I'm proud of you.
Yes, thank you.
All right, Mr. Clerk.
All right, roll call. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalave is absent. Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief and Deputy Chief. Deputy Chief Martin, he played a big role in this too. So we are really grateful to have him on staff with us. I mean, just super sharp, intentional leadership to make sure that we have every tool that we need to make sure our residents and our stakeholders are cared for. So, yeah, kudos to you too. Yeah, I mean, a good team, two good team players.
All right, item H, an ordinance providing for the issuance of not to exceed $1.1 million general obligation limited tax bonds, Series 2023 of the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois, and for the levy of a direct annual tax to pay the principal of and interest on said bonds.
Motion to approve.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Senior. Madam President, open for discussion.
Thank you. I don't know if Officer Tom Hood or Director Hicks is going to tell us about this. This is something we do annually anyway. Oh, okay, so we're going to yield it to Tom Reedy.
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Mayor and trustees. My name is Tom Reedy with Stiefel. Had the pleasure of working with the village as its placement agent and underwriter for the past several years, working on this bond issue. It is an annual process for the Village of Broadview to issue limited tax general obligation bonds payable from the village's debt service extension base. That is the maximum amount. The debt service extension base is the maximum amount that can be levied for limited tax general obligation bonds on an annual basis. That number is currently $1,132,000. That's the maximum amount that can be levied on an annual basis. That's based on the 1994 levy for principal and interest plus a CPI growth factor going back to 2009. So from a overall financial perspective, this is a continuation of a process that's done every year. Last year's issuance was done in the amount of $1,065,000 with an interest rate of 2.25%. This year, we expect a very similar issue size. Again, the 1.1 million is a not to exceed. And what's before the board this evening is a parameters ordinance. So it does set forth the maximum par amount, the maximum interest rate, the maximum payment date, which we have set for at the end of this year. So the levy would be filed with the county and just a one-year bond issue in continuation of the practice that the village has undertaken for several years now. So with that, I can take any questions of the board.
Thank you. Trustee Abraham?
No questions.
Thank you. Trustee Shelby?
What were you saying, the percent, the interest rate or the percent on that?
So last year's issuance was a 2.25%. Unfortunately, as everybody I'm sure is aware, we've been experiencing very high levels of inflation, and that has caused upward pressure on interest rates. The not to exceed interest rate within the ordinance is 5%. I'm hopeful that that number will come in closer to 4%. But just a quick note about the process for this. Tonight's ordinance allows us to move forward. But should it be approved, what we would do is put together a term sheet for the bond issue with the terms of the bonds and send that out to banks and investors and ask for bids back at a certain time. And typically what we do is, given there's no extraordinary requests of each investor, we would simply take the lowest interest rate that was bid. So we're hopeful, that's how we go about this process, and you know, we're hopeful that we'll come in significantly lower than that 5% number, but I think that we've got to be, you know, realistic that we're in a higher interest rate environment this year than in years past.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee. That's it, Trustee Shelby?
Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Armour?
Yes, thank you so much for coming to expound on this. What'd you say your first name was again?
Tom?
Tom?
Yes.
Oh, we got another Tom. Okay, so since we don't have any bonds, okay, or money that we are borrowing that we have to pay off, this is the only one that will be open. I'm going back to some of the other questions. Okay, this is the only bond, if this passes tonight, that we will have open on our books?
Well, actually, there's a,
According to what,
Can you go
Correct.
to the mic, Director? That's not true, trustee.
there is an issuance from
We're gonna explain it to you.
2018
Okay,
that
thank you.
largely funded them.
Yeah, so when I mentioned, I said we only had one GO bond that's open, which is the 2022 GO bond, right?
Oh,
GO means general obligation.
I understand
Right?
that.
The $12 million bond that was issued in 2018 is an alternative revenue bond. So that bond does not have to be specifically paid out of the general fund. We can use alternative revenue sources to pay for that bond. So so when I mentioned, I said there's only one GO bond that's outstanding.
And
right?
that's 2022.
That's 2022.
And how much is that?
That's the 1,065,000 that,
Say that again, I'm sorry.
1,065,000 that Mr. Reedy mentioned that was at
Okay.
2.65%.
So that's the only outstanding one we have.
GO bond,
Well, that's what we're talking about is GO bonds, right?
right?
Yeah, because I know, I was like hearing a couple of things, two different things, one from Tom and then one from Tim. So, yeah, maybe you should come and join those guys because I'm so confused now.
I think what's getting the confusion here, I was gonna ask Tom to do it, but
Sorry.
what I want to explain to the newer board members that weren't around here when we were looking on ways to finance the new police department and the village hall. Let's come over there. There you go. So there are two types of bonds, general obligation bonds, that are limited by a certain percentage of the assessed value of the village. And that is borrowing that we can go out and basically do it against, but it's limited. You can only get so much money borrowed as general obligation bonds. The other type of bonds are alternative revenue bonds. And the alternative revenue source that we have for the capital improvements bond in 2018 is this limited tax bond that we can do each year. And this is something that I guess the state allows us to do starting when they took something away from us in 1994. They allow us to keep doing this based upon what we would have normally got in 1994. So we're using that as an alternative bond, our alternative revenue source to pay off the 2018 capital improvements bond. So every year when we do this, the principal and interest will now go towards paying down the bond that we took out for building this building. If we don't do it, the alternative revenue bond would become a GO bond, and then that would limit us borrowing anything in the future. That's why we want to keep doing this, because who knows what we might need 4, 5, 10 years down the line. We want to have that ability to go back and get more money later. We don't want to tie up the village's abilities to meet needs going in the future. We have set this up in such a way, back in 2018, as you had in your questions, I saw why did we not have alternatives? We did have alternatives in 2018. This is the route in which we've chosen to go. So every year, we do this rollover bond because we're allowed to.
And when you say rollover, you are using rollover in simultaneously with
we got to do it every year.
the BO
Yes.
bonds.
Yes.
Okay, so,
yeah.
you know,
GO bonds.
general operation.
Yeah, obligation.
And that one, general obligation, and that has to be paid back every year.
Correct.
And when we pay that back, it's being paid toward the 2018 debt on the alternative revenue bond to be able to pay off for our village hall.
Actually, when we issue it, the issued proceeds from the bond issuance pay the 2018. The taxes that roll in for this year pay the annual rollover bond. And that limits our GO debt for the village to a million and change. Whereas if the whole thing was there, we'd have used up I'm going to say 12 million. I think it's a little less than that because of the way we ended up getting the money with a premium. But that would be eating up most of our ability to do GO bonds. So this way, we've left ourselves a safety method to borrow money in the future if it's needed. But to keep that safe, every year we got to do this rollover bond to pay off the 2018 capital bond, which was for the building.
Okay, what is the balance in the 2018 alternative revenue bond? How much of that have we paid down?
We have only been paying interest for the first 3 years. Now, the reason that is when we did this in 2018, we had 2 other bond series outstanding, the 2003A and the 2015, I think it was B. They had been, 2015B was actually 2003B. Those 2 issuances in 2003 were done for a citywide street project, and we paid on them for 20 years using this alternative revenue bond. They paid off this December. So now the revenue bond will go towards paying off the building instead of paying off the old street project.
Understood, but you still didn't answer my question unless I missed it.
Okay.
How much is the balance on the 2018 alternative revenue bond?
10.5? 10,845,000. And the reason it's less than the 12 million that everybody keeps saying is when we went to sell it, we were able to get a premium because we were paying a little more interest and the market had crashed. Somebody bid more money than we expected, so we didn't have to borrow the whole thing. We ended up getting the premium, and the 10,845,000 is actually our debt.
And that balance is as of what?
Today. Yeah.
All right. Now, am I understanding you gentlemen correctly when you say that the alternative revenue bond is the largest bond? It's like we're setting up, and that is, and so we're borrowing against that, the general obligation bonds to pay down that bond. Am I understanding that correctly?
That is correct.
All right. What happens now? And I heard you guys say that the bonds is a smart way of having somewhat of a cushion, so it doesn't hit our
tax levy cap.
Yeah, our revenue that's coming into the village from taxes that's being paid, property taxes, sales taxes, those kinds of things. Those are general operating funds that are coming in the door. So it doesn't impact like that, right? But we're still borrowing and we're still accumulating, even though we're paying it down every year. I understand, right? But we're still borrowing and we're paying down, but we're still borrowing. And so
But we're not only are we paying down the 2018, each year we pay off the rollover bond.
As long as we pay off that rollover bond every year, it lowers, when we pay it off completely every year, it lowers the alternative revenue bond.
Correct.
That we owe.
Both of them. So it lowers it and it goes, and at the end of the year, that rollover bond is gone. A new rollover bond is replaced, and the whole thing keeps repeating for 18, 20 years. And then at the end, we have the rollover bond, and we can do something else with it. We can fund our capital projects. Who knows what we're going to need in 18 years is the real story.
And the impact to the residents and to the businesses from a tax standpoint. I know that there are state laws that limits how much we home rule village can propose to the taxpayers. So we're limited from a state law standpoint. But what the other Tom is saying is that the most we can propose in a levy is 5%.
No, that's the interest. Yeah, go ahead.
The 5% is the maximum interest rate for this year's rollover bond borrowing. the maximum amount that can be levied this year is about $1,132,000.
And that's
For,
based,
for the GO bond. And just to clarify, there is no tax levy in place for it's abated each year for the 2018 bonds. At the time they were issued, as Director Hicks and Budget Officer Hood said, the alternate revenue source that was identified was, in fact, to issue bonds on an annual basis to provide the revenue source for payment. So there is no other village revenue source that's pledged to the payment of those 2018 bonds. It's this process each year that we go through to provide that revenue source.
and we have to stay with this process, with this, we have to, until it's paid off, until the alternative revenue bond is paid off. We have to stay with this process.
Correct.
And thank you for the clarification on that, because in my mind, I was picturing something different. So thank you for that. And then, okay, so, all right.
And
So-
just to give you an idea, the amount of principal that was paid down on existing alternate revenue source bonds over the last year was $675,000. So there is a paying down of debt over time, and that, will continue each year as these bonds are issued, and much of the proceeds are dedicated towards paying the existing alternate revenue source bonds.
But does the interest rate fall every year when we pay down on it, or is it the same?
Well, at the time those bonds were issued, each of the outstanding, well, there's only one series outstanding at this point, but when those were issued, the interest rate was fixed at that point in time.
At what? Yeah, but what's the interest rate?
I don't have that offhand.
It's okay.
I could tell you the coupon payment it's 5% on those 2018 bonds.
All right. That's a lot of interest, on that those are large amounts, that's a lot.
And at the time of that borrowing, it was a 20-year issuance. And as Tom mentioned, interest rates because it had a 5% coupon, but investors were willing to pay a premium for those bonds at the time. So there was north of 12 million for total projects, but under 11 million in total par amount of bonds issued at the time.
Okay, one last question. So we're actually using bonds as a cushion in place of a savings account or an investment account to bring in,
I
interest
believe, and I don't want to
revenue
speak
and
to
No, that's not what we're doing. So in a nutshell, when you go back to 2018, the market was favorable for us when we issued bonds. We were able to keep the amount of debt that we would have to repay at $10.8 million. But because there was such a favorable market, we were able to get proceeds close to $12 million. We used the additional proceeds to pay off existing debt that should have never been taken out, right? You should never take out bonds for 20 years to pay for streets that are only last 2 years, right? So that was, 7, all right. So we took out a 30-year mortgage for something that lasted 7 years, right? So that's what we did with the proceeds in that point in time. Now we come to where we are today, right? And we're able to not have to, again, go into the general revenue to pay down debt for this bond. We're able to issue the rollover bond annually to pay down the debt that's outstanding, that's been in existence, right? So this is the best alternative for the village to pay down the debt that exists for the village using the laws that are on the books to our advantage.
And I actually understand, I think I understand what your problem is. How can we issue more debt and it goes down? It's all timing. Because when we use the proceeds from this one, it pays down the bigger one. And then the limited, liability taxes that we get then pays over the rollover bond. So the next year, we have less outstanding debt. And each year that we do this, the next year, we have less outstanding debt until it's all gone.
I would like to request, every year, when you gentlemen, when we have this to vote on, because it's something that we're gonna have to do every year now, I understand that.
Right.
If you could just, give a brief summary of this alternative revenue bond and how it relates to the general obligations bond that we need to move on, and the balance, just to give us, like you're
No,
doing
you
right
want a
now in
debt schedule.
person, it'd
Yep.
be great to just have a summary. You don't have to send it in the legislation packet. It can be in a separate email just to the board members. So that's what I would like to request, a summary of where we are with these bonds.
That would be no problem.
Balance, and what it's gonna be for this year and how much we've paid down. That would be very helpful.
Thank you, Trustee Armour. Trustee Senior, you have any questions? Thank you. So I would like to say, Trustee Armour, you've been a member of this board for almost 2 years, and this is not the first time we've had this conversation as it relates to rollover bonds. So I would encourage you to go back and look at the video to hear the conversation. Also, this is a business meeting, so if you have concerns or questions as it relates to bonds issuance, I would encourage you to get with the finance team to have that conversation, because municipal financing is not like your personal financing. It's not like a business financing. It's just real different, especially when we're talking about the bonds. And it took me some time to understand the different series and stuff like that. So I'm proud to say that we've paid off 2 of the longest standing bonds that we've had. It was before this administration. So we paid off 3, 2003, 2015, and 2005. So we've paid that off. So we only have 1 bond that's active, and that's because of this building when we did the police department. And it made sense, when I got into office, it made sense for us to look at the whole scope of what we can do to do more. So we were able to do the Ike 911 Center, redo the police department where they have a detective bureau, they have the space over there that they need to do policing, and then we also had the opportunity to gut out this building on the administrative side because it was environmentally not safe for employees to work in this building. When I got here, I got sick, and it made sense for us to look. When I went over to the police side and they pulled those cabins out of the police kitchen, it was mold in there. So it just made sense for us to take care of the people that show up to work here every single day to be safe. Our residents can have a building that everybody is proud of. We're not creating debt. We're paying off our debt. We've been fiscal responsible in this administration and in the past administration. So I want to give a huge kudos to Officer Tom Hood and to our finance director, because they got the information. They know exactly what needs to take place. They are a trusted department head leaders that I trust, and most certainly the finance chairwoman trusts. And they're open to questions and concerns to get trained and educated on. I want our community to be an educated community as it relates to municipal services, because it's a lot. It's not just a one-stop shop. In the legislators, the trustees' obligation to this village is to legislate and stay on top of fiscal responsibility and policies. You need more information, reach out to the department heads to get educated on it, but don't assume that you know everything on how things are working, or communicate that something is wrong when nothing is wrong, because that's the wrong message to send to Broadview. We've been down that road. Doreen knows very well. We've been down that road a long time, dispelling misinformation. And that's what I don't want to happen, because we do practice transparency in our financials. I mean, listen to the warrant list. We do manual checks. We make it known to the public that we're spending their dollars. It's not a secret in how we govern ourselves. So, Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can. This is voting on item H. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chalma-Lavia is absent. Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
And Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Next, item I, consideration of an application for a business license requested by Harling, Inc. at 2600 South 25th Avenue Suite 210, to operate in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Armour, seconded by Trustee Senior. Madam President?
Commissioner
Good evening.
Upshot, I give it to you.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Commissioner Upshot, I give it to you.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Madam Mayors, trustees, residents. Harlan Inc. will be located at 2600 South 25th Avenue, Suite 210. It is their administrative office. Harlan Inc. is a construction masonry restoration company. All their inspections, they have been passed and are compliant with all village codes at this time. And as Trustee Armour stated earlier, they were issued a temporary certificate of compliance. I'll entertain any questions at this time.
All right, the Mayor Fentress is now leaving for the evening, so can we give her a round of applause? Oh, let's get a picture with you. Can we get a picture with the mayor, all of us?
Nice to meet you.
Okay, Trustee Abraham, you have any questions, ouch, about this business?
No, other than welcome to our community.
Thank you, Trustee Shelby.
No questions?
Thank you, Trustee Armour.
No questions.
Trustee Senior.
No question.
Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Malave is absent. Trustee Senior? Trustee, okay, thank you. Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0. Next, item J, consideration of an application for a business license requested by Undiggable Digs LLC at 2131 South 17th Avenue, Suite 6021, to operate in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Armour, seconded by Trustee Abraham. Madam President?
Thank you. Commissioner Upshaw, you want to tell us about this one?
Absolutely. Undiggable Digs LLC will be located at 2131 South 17th Avenue, Suite 6021. It is an online business that will be reselling vintage music, compact discs, CDs, vinyl records, posters, and any other merchandise related to the music industry. All inspections have been completed, and they are compliant with all village code at this time. Also, as Trustee Armour stated, they were issued a temporary license as well.
Thank you. Trustee Abraham?
No questions, other than welcome to the community.
Thank you. Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
No questions.
Trustee Senior?
No question.
Mr. Clerk?
Roll call. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Malave is absent. Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, This carries 4-0. Thank you all. Next, item K, consideration of an application for a business license requested by Center for Molecular Cancer Diagnostics, Inc. at 2100 Roosevelt Road to operate in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Armour, seconded by Trustee Abraham. Madam President.
Thank you. Commissioner Upshaw, you want to tell us about this?
Center for Molecular Cancer Diagnostics, Inc. Core Biolabs will be located at 2100 Roosevelt Road next to SCT, which is Safety Control Technology. All inspections have been completed. They are compliant with all village codes. Core Biolabs pretty much will be doing the blood work and the lab work for SCT. I'll entertain any questions at this time.
Trustee Abraham?
No questions, other than welcome to our community.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
I think this was the other one you told me that you had, right, Commissioner? You had like 4 temporary
Yes.
ones. This was the other one.
Yes, I'm sorry, you're correct.
No question. That was the only question I had for the Commissioner.
Trustee Senior?
No question.
Mr. Clark?
Roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave is absent. Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0. Thank you all. Next item, L. Consideration of an application for a business license requested by Clark Hubbard LLC at 2000 South 25th Avenue to operate in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Armour, seconded by Trustee Shelby. Madam President?
Thank you. Commissioner Upshaw, you want to tell us about this business?
Yes, Clark Hubbard LLC, doing business as Bub City. They are part of the Lettuce Entertainment Incorporated. They will be located at 2000 South 25th Avenue, and they are basically using the warehouse as storage for restaurant equipment, patio furniture, kitchen supplies, and other event equipment.
Thank you.
All inspections have been completed, and they are in compliance with all village codes at this time. As Trustee Armour stated as well, they were issued a temporary business license.
Thank you, Commissioner Upshaw. Trustee Abraham?
No questions, other than just welcome to the community again.
Thank you. Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
No questions.
Trustee Senior?
No question.
Mr. Clark?
Roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Chamalave is absent. Trustee Senior.
Yes.
Trustee Shelby.
Yes.
Trustee Armour.
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0. Thank you all. Next, item
Thank
10.
you.
Application for the authority to expend funds totaling $48,959.26 for Hawk, Dodge, and Jeep dealership for the police department.
Chief Mills, you want to tell us about this purchase order?
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, residents, guests. This purchase is for the police department. We currently only have one unmarked police vehicle. As you all are aware, I keep that vehicle, but our deputy chief should also have a vehicle, as he is also part of his responsibility to respond at any time, 24 hours a day. So when I came here, we had the old chief's vehicle, which is a 2012, and had tons of mechanical problems. And the board and the mayor authorized the purchase that I had, but still, that one vehicle that the deputy chief was driving is just constantly having issues. So we did include this in our budget request when we approved for this year's budget to make this purchase. And I'd like to thank the trustees. We were able to also purchase 2 marked vehicles. So we're doing a very good job, thanks to the mayor and the board of trustees, in getting our marked fleet up. But as I said earlier, we need to have certain vehicles, like myself, our detective sergeant, as well as our deputy chief, because we're constantly called to come out at any time of the day or night, 7 days a week.
So I don't know if we did a motion in a second, Mr. Clark?
We did not yet.
Okay, so can we get a motion and a second for discussion? I need a motion for the purchase.
I motion the purchase.
You motion to approve it? I'll second it.
It's been properly motioned at this time by trustee Shelby, seconded by trustee Abraham. Okay, Madam President.
Thank you. Trustee Abraham, you have any questions for the chief?
No, none.
Trustee Shelby?
No questions.
Trustee Armour?
I don't have any questions, but I don't remember getting the PO for it. I don't seem to have it.
It's in the package.
Oh, the clerk said it was in your package.
I'll make sure you get a copy, a hard copy, and I'll email you another copy.
You'll put it in my box?
I'll hand it to
Trustee
you.
Senior?
Oh, perfect. Thank you, clerk.
Thank you. So I would like to say this as it relates to the profession of the police department. We've purchased vehicles for the fire chief and for the deputy chief, and it's just appropriate that we have working vehicles for the two respective high department head leadership. Like Chief Mills said, they on call 24/7. And we need to make sure that they can get to a scene at any moment, and it shouldn't be in a personal vehicle or a vehicle that's not functioning properly. And because we have the financial resources and we're in a good place within our budget guidelines, that's things being budgeted for, the department heads do a really amazing job making sure that they are on track with their budget. They don't spend outside of they needs. So I'm in full support of making sure that we have whatever tools we need for the police chiefs in their departments. So, Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, we can, Madam President. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chalmalavi is absent. Trustee Senior?
Yes.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
I don't have any questions.
We're voting.
Oh, sure. Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent, Madam President. This carries 4-0. Thank you all.
Thank you.
All right, next is item 11, Village Clerk's Report. I just have one thing, and it's not a small thing. I attended the WCMC, which is the West Cook Municipal Conference meeting this past weekend. This is an annual meeting where all of the legislative bodies in the western suburbs for Cook County meet, and they introduced the 2023 agenda items for the legislative at the state level. And it was an impressive list of things that they are trying to accomplish this year. Some things that we have been waiting for since back in 2009 when I took office. Long time coming, and I hope that they can accomplish everything that they have set out to accomplish. Speaker of the House, Chris Welch, got up with some of his higher legislative team up there and introduced us to some of the new members, and I'm very excited to see how we make out on these proposed bills. So stay tuned to the proposed bills at the state level for some very important and needed changes. Mayor Thompson, that concludes my report.
Thank you.
Next is item 12, Village President, Mayor Katrina Thompson.
Thank you. So I'm going to piggyback off the clerk as it relates to the West Conference Municipal Conference. As many of you know, I am the presiding president over the WCMC for this calendar year. I also serve on the legislative committee, and so I follow policies and bills as it relates to state statute and what we're obligated to. And I was real pleased with the legislative committee to address the non-home rule legislation. Where it's going to go, I don't know, but we got the support of WCMC. We also have the support of the Illinois Municipal League. So we have work to do as it relates to that because we're a non-home rule community. That means there's certain things that we can't take advantage of that home rule communities can take advantage of. I know I presented to legislation as it relates to the gaming. And with the gaming, because we're non-home rule, we can only charge $25 for a gaming machine. But in the home rule community, they can charge up to $1,500. So I was able to get that legislation passed. We didn't get up to $1,500, but per video game in the village of Broadview for that those games is $250, and that has to be passed through legislation. So that's generating revenue. And when I have these conversations as it relates to legislation and how we look at a non-home rule community so that we can gain revenue, because what's good for a home rule community as it relates to revenue, the rules should apply, but it doesn't. And so we have to advocate for that. So it's been real, it's been a real experience on legislating and lobbying on what's best for the village of Broadview. So legislation is real. I encourage anybody, I mean, all of this talk, I mean, all of these matters of conversations that we have, but you're not intentional unless you're following policy and what we can do within our guidelines based off of state statute. If you're not putting your name out there to say what's best for Broadview, and I'm speaking to everybody in this room, what's best for Broadview, time out. Because we have to move forward, but we have to move forward with the right information. We have to move forward with intentional leadership like our department heads. We have regular meetings as it relates to legislation, what impacts the fire department. It's just not about the finances. Municipal government is real. It's a lot that go involved with municipal government. And so I'm proud that I have the ability to be able to navigate through a lot of these systems to put Broadview on the map. I mean, it's amazing that when I go to the U.S. Mayors of Conference, in a small city to them is considered 30,000. We made a presence at the U.S. Mayor Conference. They know who we are in Broadview, and that's on the national. I also serve as our regional director for the National League of Cities for the local elected officials for the Black Caucus. So I'm not just sitting here turning my wheels, making it all about me, you know, out in the community and about. It's a lot of work that go on behind the scenes that many residents have no awareness of, and the things that you want to keen into is like the finances, because that's the most important part to the puzzle for us, and then the mayor. We have to keep moving forward in some of these initiatives, so I'm pleased with the work that we're doing with WCMC. We created a new committee that's new to the organization, and that's the Environmental Committee. And so I chair that with Oak Park and with River Forest. They are my colleagues on that committee because we need to pay attention to what's coming before us as it relates to legislation and how climate impact all communities, not just the village of Broadview. So we are actually doing the work behind the scenes that, you know, people don't know about but want to grandstand on things that they want to know about, they want to do. But it's a lot of work that go with not just being the mayor, but what goes on with municipal government. I do want to say good evening to our residents, and thank you, Joreen, for the kind words in your public comment. I don't take that lightly because I remember many nights on board meeting nights, this boardroom would be filled with people with contentions. The board didn't get along. It was always something. And Joreen and I would sit in the back and talk, and, you know, if we had public comment, made a public comment. But Joreen, I want to say thank you for staying the course and actually seeing the change in how we govern ourselves in the village of Broadview. And I know many residents know you, they got a high level of respect for you. So I know that your voice carry loud in the village of Broadview because I hear some of the conversations when people call me. So I appreciate you, I do, because we do need residents sometimes to tell us thank you or to let us know the work that we're doing, because sometimes you feel like you're not doing a good enough job. You know, what's good enough? You know, what's good enough? I think as residents we need to ask ourselves, what's good enough? What is really good enough? So I just ask the residents, just pay attention to the climate and the culture and the wannabes, because what's good enough? What's good enough? So it is Black History Month, and I am a proud Black woman serving in this village of Broadview. I don't take that role lightly as a Black woman, but I take it with integrity. I take it with style and grace, professionalism, and how we work together, and how the relationships that I've built over the last 6 or 7 years, how we collaborated with communities. And so when we went to DC last month to receive our award, I think I just feel so blessed. I just feel really blessed that God has put me in a position of opportunity. You know, we go to DC to receive our award. We came in first place with our C4 collaboration. And we're talking about communities that every conversation that I had was, how did you get 15 communities to work together on this initiative? And sometimes the other three leaders, President Skaman and President Aducci, sometimes we have our own conversations, and we don't know, but we know that the work needs to be done. So they are intentional leaders in their respective towns getting things done, and we literally are moving the needle. We having some small wins in our environmental space, and we're at the front of all of this. So I'm grateful for their partnership, for their leadership, because bringing other communities together to buy into what you're doing has not been heard of, because most municipalities work in silos because they want it just for me. We have another collaboration with the village of Westchester, Bellwood, Hillside, Berkeley, and Broadview with CMAP, where we're getting ready to have conversations on how we connect the Salt Creek Bike Trail or Walk Trail to the Perry Path. And so that's going to be a heavy lift for all of us that's engaged in that, but it's intentional work on how we help other communities have success. It's not just about Broadview. It's about our township, and it's about our region. And when we look at those dynamics and when we put these pieces together, the leadership, we've had intentional conversations on how we look at housing. So we're going to be dropping the plan for housing. We're going to be dropping our plan for our water affordability plan. We're going to be dropping our CMAP plan. So it's not just about the village of Broadview, it's about what's best regionally. And so when we look at that, we see the vision on how we lay out the platform on where we are and where we're going, and after I'm finished being the mayor, what takes place. It's all about putting the next leader in position, because when I took it, somebody wanted to tell me how to do the job. But literally, it should be passing the torch and carrying a booklet that we can pass, and they can carry the torch and have their own vision and their own ideas and keep the village rolling. I don't plan on ever selling my house, because it's the first black mayor's house in the village of Broadview. That home can never be sold. That's legacy. So these are the things that we put in place. In 1976, U.S. President Gerald Ford expanded Black History Week, initially established by Carter G. Woodson, to the entire month of February to commemorate and celebrate the contributions made by people of African descent. Did you know the village of Broadview Black History Fact in Illinois elected its first African-American woman? Did you know that the village of Broadview elected its first African-American mayor, male, Sherman Jones? A lot of people don't know our history. This village was founded in 1914, and so we go through all these years and we're starting to put leadership in place, representation in place, because representation matters to everyone. And we have to make sure that we can do that. This board shows representation. We have a Latino on our board. We have an Italian on our board. We have Black women serving on our board. We are intentional about diversity within the village of Broadview. In our police department, we have our first African-American police officer that's now a detective in the village of Broadview. We didn't have Black female officers in the village of Broadview. We have a Black firefighter in the fire department. So when we talk about diversity, it's not about just one race. It's about all of us, because it's a reflection of who we are when we go knock on our neighbors' doors. It's who we are. We want to be loving and kind and show compassion for all people. It's about humanity. But let's not forget the fact that as African Americans, we've struggled in America with the race component, and we have to be intentional and have these conversations. Absolutely. We have the first Broadview Freedom School in Broadview coming to Lindop. When that initiative came out, Michael Romaine, who's the publisher of and editor of the Village Free Press, he called my office and was telling me about this grant that had came down. So we shared our grant writer who writes for the village to write the grant for the school, because it was just that important that we teach our kids African-American history. And so Freedom Schools will be not just for Broadview, but it's for the township. And Dr. Jackson, her team is now planning to coordinate to launch it in 2023. So it's coming. We had our first community meeting today. Just a little bit of background about Freedom Schools. They were temporary, alternative, and free schools for African Americans, mostly in the South. They were originally part of a nationwide effort during civil rights movement to organize African Americans to achieve social, political, economic equality in the United States. The most prominent example of a freedom school was in Mississippi during the summer of 1964. And so when we talk about the history of African Americans, Broadview is taking a stand on making sure our community is educated, they are informed, and they are aware that we do exist, and we got good and best practices to educate our children so that they can have conversations of pain to move them from pain to healing. That's the purpose of the Freedom School, to go from pain to healing, because we need to heal in America when we talk about race relations. We had Tyree over in Memphis who lost his life at the hands of police officers. And that troubled me for a couple of days. And as the regional director for the National League of Cities, local elected officials for our region, which is Region 6, they put out a statement. And we have to change the system from within. Policing is a culture that must change in America. And we starting right here in Broadview. This is a true story fact. When we hired our police chief, I asked leadership from the police department, I put the resumes out, took out the names, and said, who would you want to work for? They all pointed to the chief we have now, but they didn't know who he was. When I made the announcement, that's when I started getting resignation letters or retirement letters. They're going to retire. I was ashamed as a black leader in a predominantly black community where we had white leadership, but wouldn't even give him the respect to even help them get to the next level in their careers. They left the village of Broadview. So when we talk about a system and a culture, we have to be intentional about the conversations that we have, but for me, it's simple. When Chief Mills said 21st century community policing, he means every word of it. And that's when the culture on the police side started to change. So we are seeing a shift, and we're still safe in Broadview, but the fact remains the same, it's real. And for Tyree to lose his life at the hands of officers, I don't care what color they are, public trust is with the police department. Public trust is a big deal in policing, and we cannot go backwards. We have to, and we must hold those accountable because the public trusts us to protect and to serve us. Juneteenth celebration will be this year. I tried to get 2 days, but we did a survey. The community said they wanted 3 days, so we're going to have the 3-day celebration. So it's going to be June 16th through June 18th. Last year, when we did Juneteenth, it was our second annual, and we highlighted the longest existing black business in Broadview, which is Wallace Funeral Home. This year, we're going to be renaming a street. The street is Indian Jones Street. Joseph Hauser, known as Indian Joe. So I'm going to read this because this is a little bit of history that when we talk about policing and how it impacts all races. What this village is today is not what it was in 1926. And so we have to acknowledge and make the appropriate change. So that's why I'm making a recommendation to change the street name. So deputy sheriffs armed with an order to arrest Indian Joe Hauser, who has been an illegal searchlight in connection with his activities as a chief of police of Broadview, an alleged persecutor of motorists. Hazazar was placed in jail. The 3 indictments returned by a grand jury, which was sitting on the speed cases. The rumor that Hazar is not a citizen of the United States and therefore unable to qualify for the position he is being held, investigated by the attorney's office. This was an article in August 12, 1926. Marshal Hazar fired in August 1926 after he was indicted for a graft association with his zealous speed traps. And he was indicted for a graft associated with with the zealous speed trap. So that, when I read that, I started thinking about racial profiling in our surrounding communities on what that looked like. And that happened in Broadview in 1926. And so if we just got our first black police chief, look how many years we've had of other races policing in our community. The village board of Broadview, long famed as a speed trap. So we was considered a speed trap to trap motorists among the motorists of Cook County, and has finally awakened to the fact there is dissatisfaction with the administrations of a gentleman named Joe, and has handed him a pink ticket dismissing him from the position as chief of police. September 2nd, 1926, that was in the LaGrange Citizen newspaper. We have to acknowledge. So we're acknowledging that we had a former police chief that was doing some indiscretionable things. I'm not from the community, but stories that I've heard from the African Americans that lived on the north side of town couldn't even go to the Broadview swimming pool to swim, or they was antagonized by white officers if they came across Roosevelt Road during a certain period of time. It's not clear when the street was named after Joe, Indian Joe, but it's clear his background does not reflect the village of Broadview, and most certainly the Broadview Police Department of who they are today. So I'm gonna ask the community for what name would they like for that street to be named. So this is located in the industrial corridor. We'll do a community survey, because it's a process that we have to take with the state and all of that stuff for name changing, but it's that important that we change the narrative of Broadview from 1926 to 2023. So a little bit of good news, the U.S. Department of Agriculture is investing more than $9.4 million in 45 cooperative agreements that support innovative, scalable waste management plans to reduce and divert food waste from landfills, including a $300,000 grant to the village of Broadview, the only municipality in the state of Illinois that's got this funding. And so we're gonna be launching it. We're working with the consultants on what this look like, but we are super excited about this. I have been appointed for the second year to the Energy, Environment, and National Resources, the Federal Advocacy Committee. This was under the leadership of the new president, Mayor Victoria Woods of Tacoma, Washington. So I'm grateful for her recognition and the work that I'm doing in an environmental space to reappoint me to this position. And so this is a team that we provide direction and guidance for the NLC's federal advocacy agenda and policies prioritizing sustainability, climate change, community resilience, and water infrastructure and more. So I am excited about this appointmentship. This is with our partnership with C4. It helps us on a regional level as it relates to the cross-climate collaborative that we have launched with the multi-community with bicycle and pedestrian corridor projects. We have invested in solar panels, EV charging station, and stormwater diversions infrastructure in Broadview to address the climate crisis and achieve equity and sustainability within our community. So you didn't get to watch the video, but I know it's on YouTube and social media. I don't know if it's on our website, but last month, it was like a last minute thing. We got awarded $125,000 from the U.S. Mayor's Conference and American Beverage Foundation for a Healthy America. They announced $745,000 in grants to 9 cities who were winners of the 2023 Childhood Obesity Prevention and the Environmental Health and Sustainability Awards. We took first place for small cities. So on a note, I would like to say when I had the opportunity, and I'm excited about it, but I had an opportunity that I got an invite from President Biden to a president reception. So I was invited to the White House while the president gave his comments as it relates to the Biden infrastructure bill and some other things that took place that the mayors, wanted to address as it relates to the nation. But to have an opportunity to be in the presence of the President of the United States, it gave me great hopes for Broadview, because we're 8,000, and how many opportunities do we get to highlight Broadview at the president at the White House. I mean, literally being inside the building. And so I don't take it lightly because it's work to be done, but we could do a lot of work together if we just work together. And how I'm being elevated, everybody on this board is being elevated. Everybody on this board is being elevated because I don't do the work by myself. So I'm grateful for you ladies. I am. Lastly, I want to say what transparency is to me, because I think sometimes people have conversations within the community to fit their narratives, to fit their agendas, but nobody never asks me. So I feel compelled to say what transparency is to me. To be transparent means to share your thoughts and opinion honestly and respectfully. Transparency is an approach to communicating and forming relationships that emphasize being direct with people in the community. Everybody know I'm very direct. The more transparency there is in the community, the more candid conversation there will be between staff and village leaders. Transparency is especially useful in increasing productivity and improving overall performance because it avoids confusion and promotes sincere interaction. Genuine relationships build off of transparency and trust. When you are transparent, authentic connections form with others because mutual help each other and share information. Genuine relationships grow from knowing one another openly from the start, and open relations are reliable, which makes them especially valuable in the community. Thank you for your continued support as we move the village of Broadview forward together. I think we got closed session, so I'm gonna ask for the trustees to make a motion for us to go into closed session, but those that streaming, if you want to stay around till we get out of closed session, you can, but I want to say have a good night, and I'm truly grateful to be your servant leader in the village of Broadview. I am. It means a lot to me. So we need a motion and a second to go to closed session.
So at this time, we'll ask for a motion to suspend the regular board meeting and go into closed session.
I'll make a motion to suspend the regular board meeting so we can go into closed session.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Armour, to suspend the regular board meeting and go into closed session. We'll take a roll call. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Trustee Senior? Do we still have trustee Senior? Okay, trustee Chamalabi and Senior are absent. Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. We are now hereby in closed session at 9:40 p.m. Thank you all. See you soon.
We need
I make a motion to approve the the PO for the surveillance. Whew.
I'm finna bust a hip-hop rhyme.
You need a beat?
Bring the beat in.
You know, if you ask Siri, if you go, hey Siri, hey beatbox for me, she'll beatbox. Oh, I'm not even kidding. Lily loves it. Lily does it all the time.
10 o'clock.
Okay, cool. You ready? Okay, I have a motion to reconvene regular board meeting.
Motion to reconvene our regular board meeting. I need a second.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Armour, seconded by trustee Abraham to reconvene our regular board meeting from closed session. I'll take a roll call. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalavi is absent. Trustee Senior?
I forgot to call her back.
Did we get her back?
She back?
Keep going.
Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Okay.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. Trustee Senior, we are taking a roll call vote to reconvene to regular session.
Excuse me.
How do you vote? Yes? Yes. Thank you. And Madam President carries 4-0. We are hereby back in a regular session at 10:01 p.m. And we are moving on to item B, possible action on items coming out of closed session. Madam President?
So we had a discussion as it relates to surveillance, so we need a motion and a second to approve the expenditure amount of $40,033.68.
I would like to make a motion to approve the PO for that amount for the surveillance system.
Second.
I'm glad everyone seconded it. It's been properly motioned by trustee Shelby and officially seconded by trustee Abraham to approve the PO for security systems, Mercury Security Systems Corp. In the amount of $40,033.68. Madam President, shall I have a roll call?
Yes, please.
Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalavi is absent. Trustee Senior? Yes. Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
Trustee Miller is absent. And this carries 4-0. Thank you all. Next, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Shelby, seconded by trustee Armour to adjourn this evening's meeting. Roll call. Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
Trustee Chamalavi is absent. Trustee Senior? Yes. Trustee Shelby?
Yes.
Trustee Armour?
Yes.
And trustee Miller is absent. We are hereby adjourned at 10:02 p.m. Thank you all. Have a great evening.
Thank you.